Brazil celebrates Independence Day in defense of democracy, sovereignty, and union, and a grand parade in the capital attended by President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. The Colombian ambassador to Venezuela, Milton Rengifo, announced that the opening of Colombian consulates in the country will be formalized in the next few days. A Unicef report states that a record number of children from Latin America and the Caribbean are leaving their homes in search of better life, risking disease, injury, and abuse. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Barrera from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll begin with the news. Stay with us. Brazil celebrates Independence Day in defense of democracy, sovereignty, and union, and a grand parade in the capital attended by President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. The parade, which started at 9 a.m. local time, gathered around 30,000 people on the plain of the ministry in Brazil. This year, the theme of the jubilate is democracy, sovereignty, and unity. The celebrations for the Week of the Homeland began on Friday, September the 1st, with the inauguration of the Independence exhibition, with a display of military equipment such as ships, combat vehicles, weapons, and airplanes. The independence of Brazil resulted after a series of political and military events in Bahia, Rio de Janeiro, and Sao Paulo between 1821 and 1824 that led to the independence of the Kingdom of Brazil from the United Kingdom of Portugal. In Brazil, the Yell of the Exclude takes place every September the 7th on Brazilian Independence Day. This year marks the 29th edition of this event since it was first held in 1895. Let's see more details in the following report from our correspondent in Recife, Brian Mir.
In scores of towns and cities across Brazil, tens of thousands of working-class social movements and labor union activists took to the streets on Brazil's September 7th Independence Day to commemorate the 29th annual Yell of the Excluded. This year's march focused on fighting hunger, which was deeply exacerbated in Brazil when austerity cuts were made after the 2016 coup.
The Year of the Excluded is important this year because it is honoring one of the first women who ever had the courage to say it's better to die fighting than die of hunger, Margarida Alves. She was a Brazilian hero.
The Yell of the Excluded was started in 1995 with support from liberation theology sectors of the Catholic Church and allied social movements such as the MST, as an alternative to Brazil's annual Independence Day military parade, focusing on building a society that is more inclusive for the nation's poor. Over the years, labor unions and progressive political parties have also joined the annual march.
The working class is here, pressing this government and society to guarantee the rights of the people who most need them. This year's theme is, "What are you hungry for?" And hunger is still a reality. As long as this is the case, we'll be on the streets. We can't be lulled into inaction when there are still people dying of hunger every day.
Brian Mir, teleSUR, Recife.
Venezuela's National Assembly approved the request for President Nicolás Maduro to leave the country to carry out our agenda to deepen diplomatic relations and international cooperation.
Due to the letter sent to the National Assembly by President Nicolás Maduro Moros, we are convened in accordance with Article 196 of the Constitution of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, which in its second numeral grants the power to the Delegated Commission to authorize the President of the Republic to leave the national territory. As there are no other deputies left with the right to speak, we will close the debate to proceed with the corresponding vote. The debate is closed. Those deputies who are in favor of approving the request made by the constitutional president of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela citizen Nicolás Maduro Moros, in accordance with the provisions of Articles 235 and 187, numeral 17 of the Constitution of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, please express it by the usual way.
Sírvanse manifestarlo con la señal de costumbre. Queda aprobado por unanimidad.
It is unanimously approved. Consequently, it is hereby approved the request for authorization to the constitutional president of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, citizen Nicolás Maduro Moros, to be absent from the national territory.
Maduro Moros, sírvase, por favor, secretaria.
The Colombian ambassador to Venezuela, Milton Rengifo, announced that the opening of Colombian consulates in the country will be formalized in the next few days. During a press conference, the Colombian diplomat informed that the consulates will be located in Maracaibo, Zulia State, and San Cristobal, Táchira State. The consulate in Maracaibo will open its doors on Monday, September the 11th, while the one in San Cristobal will open on September the 25th. Furthermore, Rengifo indicated that consular services will progressively resume normally, as has occurred when the Colombian consulates in Caracas. At the same time, he expressed that before the end of the year, the consular office located in the Venezuelan capital will offer all its services with normality. The president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, along with his counterpart in Mexico, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, will lead a Latin American and Caribbean conference on drugs in the city of Cali. The summit began on Thursday with the participation of 15 Latin American countries and other cases. According to the agenda of the meeting, the Colombian president will present proposals to anti-drug meetings to initiate a process of dialogue and participation in drug control in the world.
We have convened representatives of civil society from different countries, governments of the region, and observers to discuss in an open manner the different experiences and perspectives on drug policy, its current approach, and the opportunities that we can glimpse, and why not build in the not-too-distant future a drug policy that privileges life in all its forms. The results of this forum, collected in a report, will enrich the governmental process that begins today and that seeks to contribute to reconsidering the way in which we face the world drug problem, as President Petro has said since the beginning of his mandate. This also means rethinking our strategy and possibilities to direct our discussions towards new areas that we as government perhaps have not explored.
Venezuela's Executive Vice President Delcy Rodriguez met with Chinese Foreign Minister of Foreign Affairs Wen Yi in Beijing on Thursday as part of her work agenda during her official visit to the Asian nation. At the meeting held at the Great Palace of the People, the two officials reviewed cooperation agreements between the two countries to promote the promotion of international economic cooperation and other issues of mutual interests. Last Tuesday, the Venezuelan Vice President arrived in the Chinese city of Shanghai with the purpose of strengthening bilateral relations and brotherhood with the Asian country. In addition to the high price of the basic food basket, Costa Ricans will have to pay more for fuel in an increase that begins on Thursday. According to the Public Services Regulatory Authority, the price adjustment will be automatic. Super gasoline will go from $1.30 to $1.40, a price that, according to records, have not been experienced in the country since November 2022. Peruvian archaeologists discovered the mummified remains of an adult individual from the pre-Inca Yuzuma culture buried in a residential neighborhood in Lima. According to the archaeologist Marcela Bonosai, the remains were found alongside ceremony vessels, textiles, and other objects in the Ahuaca Puclan site in the middle of the Lima's affluent Miraflores district. The specialists informed that the mummy lived possibly as long as a millennium ago at the beginning of the Musma culture that developed on the central coast of modern Peru during a period of social reorganization prior to the arrival of the Incans to the area. Venezuelans, after being hit by sanctions and military threats, daily life was full of twists and turns. That's why back in 2019, with artisanal skills and engineering degree and a family to provide, Rodolfo started quill breeding together with his wife Jennifer as a way to guarantee protein supplies for themselves in the midst of this catastrophe. As time went by, the quill multiplied, and with them, a small but fruitful business grew as well. Our colleague Adriana Sibori and Luis Horacio Gutierrez went to their urban farm in Caracas and bring us their story in a new episode of the series Venezuela on the Move. Let's see.
He is a communication engineer, but this path does not lead to his office. This time he is entering the world of birds. Now he takes it as his vocation. But this was not the case when he started in 2019.
The crisis led us to activate our imagination, to see how to find a solution to the different problems that we were facing in terms of food and the economy. And also, at that time, there was the risk that Venezuela was going to be invaded, that it was going to enter into conflict. So one also looked for a way to project oneself, to plan on how to seek refuge in a style of production that will allow subsistence. At a time of conflict or at the time of any of the different crises that one could be experiencing.
He used his knowledge to his advantage.
I made this incubator from recyclable material.
It is a styrofoam cooler. He put fertile quail eggs inside and the first 30 hatched. Now they have more than 150. His wife is in charge of the care and advertising for sales, which she does from her home using social networks.
We took chances, investigated, studied, through trial and error. It made us want to keep moving forward and not to give up for the family and for the children. Our path has not been easy. It's like everything. We have had stumbles, we have had difficulties, falls, losses. But the point is to continue, to persevere, to fight, to have constancy, discipline, and not give up.
Production advanced, and each animal lays around 30 eggs per month, some of which are donated as a contribution.
He helps the community, especially me. I don't buy them. He gives them to me, donates them for my daughter who is sick. So I don't buy them, but I know they are expensive.
In many countries, they are considered a treat. They are smaller than chicken eggs, but they have more proteins, twice as much iron, and cause fewer allergies.
Luis Horacio Gutierrez y Adriana Sibori, teleSUR, Caracas. You can find more episodes of our series Venezuela on the Move on YouTube and other platforms. Now let's take a very short break, but remember you can now join us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. On Thursday in the United States, a judge ordered Texas to remove a large floating barrier from the Rio Grande River by September the 15th. According to Immigrant Legal Resources Center Senior Texas Strategist Carolina Canizales, the bayou are a symbol of the hateful and inhuman policies the governor Abbott uses to wage war on immigrants. For his part, Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued a statement saying the state will appeal to the ruling and that it will continue to use all strategies to allegedly secure the border, including the deployment of Texas National Guard soldiers. Several of the officials invited to the G20 summit have already arrived in New Delhi, India, 2 days ahead of the gathering. The agenda of the meeting focuses on the Global South. Will review issues such as gender empowerment, inclusive economic growth, and the development of digital public infrastructure. The G20 leaders have agreed that the Indian presidency is a great opportunity for the countries not represented in the forum. In this context, Prime Minister Narendra Modi told an international media outlet that his country, since taking over the leadership of the G20, has focused on people-centered management to ensure that actions reach anyone. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations Asian Summit concluded on Thursday in Indonesia with a commitment by United States, China, and Russia to promote and enable peace and multilateralism based on international norms. Asian gathering was attended by U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, Chinese Premier Li Qiang, and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov for a direct high-level meeting between the parties. The 18-nation meeting caused tensions among diplomats in Washington, Beijing, and Moscow because of the armed conflict with Ukraine and Russia, and Washington's interest in Taiwan 2 months after the last meeting. teleSUR English launched its own video on demand site for you to go and revisit our interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Just go to the top left corner in our website homepage and click on the video option to access our VOD platform. Now let's take our last break. Don't go away. Welcome back. On Wednesday, a Unicef report stated that a record number of children from Latin America and the Caribbean are leaving their homes in search of a better life, risking disease, injury, and abuses. In the first 6 months of 2023, over 40,000 children has to cross the dangerous Darien jungle separating Central and South America, indicating that the total number is likely to much higher at the end of the year. The UNICEF Regional Director Gary Hanley said in a statement that gun violence, instability, poverty, and climate-related events are alarmingly cropping the region and pushing more children from their homes.
Are now migrating within Latin America and the Caribbean at an unprecedented rate, constituting a larger share of the migrant population than any other region worldwide. The situation confronting children on the move in Latin America and the Caribbean is unparalleled in its complexity and scale, demanding immediate attention and decisive action.
African states in Kenya proposed a global tax on carbon as means to combat climate change. The proposal was made through a document signed by leaders from all over Africa, representing at least 1.3 billion inhabitants of the continent. The text intended to implement a tax of fossil aviation and maritime fuels. It also urges the world's largest greenhouse gas generators to commit their resources to help the poorest nations mitigate the effects of the climate crisis. Nigeria's ruling junta has decided to increase the price of uranium from sale by factor of 250. From now on, the country would issue a crucial player on the world uranium since and market will charge 200 euros per kilogram. Before, Nigeria, which historically had its best buyers in France, sold a kilogram of uranium from 8.80 euros. This momentous move will not only have a strong impact on the local economy, but also on the global uranium market and international relations. On Thursday, the government of the Democratic Republic of the Congo raised to 51 the death toll after protests against the United Nations missions in North Kivu. The Interior Minister Peter Kesari explained that last week a local armed group called for an unauthorized protest against the mission, which was repressed for undermining public order. After that, the demonstrators allegedly killed a policeman by stunning. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also use us on our socials. We're on Facebook and Twitter and on Instagram as well. For TeleSUR English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.